Umar Ahmed, IFL TV, MTK Global. I'm with the announcement press conference for Feb 2nd show at the O2. I'm joined by Head of Sky Sports Boxing, Adam Smith. How was your Christmas?
Very nice, thank you. In America, it was lovely. Had a few days break over there, so with the family, and feel refreshed and ready to go. And the teams had a nice break, and we had a big meeting last Friday. We had an away day where we sort of threw the various ideas around for the new year, and we're ready to go. We can't wait. You excited?
Very much so. Whereabouts in the States were you?
I was in Cape Cod for Christmas, and then New York for New Year. My sister lives there, I've got family there, so it was lovely. And I'm looking forward to catching up with Eddie, who's been away as well.
Obviously, we've all tried to have a break from boxing, but I couldn't keep sort of my mind off it. So many things going on at the moment. Firstly, I want to start with rumours of Canelo Golovkin 3 possibly happening. Golovkin to DAZN. Can you comment on that?
Well, I mean, both could happen. It looks like a lot of balls are up in the air at the moment, as is often the case around sort of this time of the year. Where are they going to land? We know that EUBANK and DeGALE have got together for February. We wait for the other big fights to be made. I mean, there was a lot happening just before Christmas. Of course, Dillion Whyte's huge win over Derek Chisora. Does that mean that Dillion will fight Anthony Joshua in April, or will he go another route? Will AJ take on White or Miller, or will he get the Wilder fight that everybody hopes for? So all of that being discussed. I know Tyson Fury's been vocal. Will he go straight back in the ring with Deontay Wilder? Golovkin, of course, we look forward to him returning. Will he fight Canelo after Canelo's defeat of Fielding? Will Canelo fight Danny Jacobs? I mean, there's so much, as I say, spinning up there. The plates are going to land in the next sort of few weeks, and we'll get a clearer picture. But I think it's going to be a huge 2019. 2018 was a fantastic one, and I can only see this being bigger and better.
We mentioned a lot of names there. Let's talk about Dillion Whyte first. Great end to the year last year, knocking out Derek Chisora. It's been linked with Vladimir Klitschko. Can you make a comment on this as well?
Listen, I haven't heard anything from Bernd Bonte, who's Vladimir Klitschko's business advisor. So I don't know whether Vladimir wants to fight again. Look, it's a heavyweight world out there, isn't it? What a huge 2018 for the heavyweights with Wilder Fury, with AJ beating Joseph Parker and Alexander Povetkin. You know, you've got a huge amounts that's going to happen. Dillion Whyte, as you mentioned, he had a wonderful year last year. You know, knocking out Lucas Brown, the win over Parker, then the finale against Chisora. He deserves his opportunity now, be it against Joshua or Wilder Fury. He deserves his opportunity. He's done everything the right way, and I hope that 2019 will prove that will happen for Dillion, that he gets his chance. But yeah, it is all up in the air. We don't know how it's going to land, but I'm pretty sure that in the first half of 2019 we'll get 2 or 3 big heavyweight nights.
Do you think if the Klitschko fight did happen, he'd get the credit for that victory, especially obviously Klitschko having 2 losses at the end of his career, out the ring for ages? Do you think he'd get the credit for that win?
As I saw Buncey talking about Klitschko, I'm not sure where the information comes from. I mean, as Vladimir said that, look, if he went out, didn't he, in the right way. I think, you know, losing to Joshua in an absolute classic. He was going to take the rematch, then decided, no, I've got more important things to do in my life. My boxing legacy is assured. Is he definitely coming back? If he is, of course it will be interesting, and it's a really interesting fight with him and Dillion Whyte. No doubt about that. I mean, it was a real rumble, wasn't it, with Anthony Joshua? So there's no reason why, you know, Klitschko and Whyte couldn't be a fantastic fight. But personally, I'd like to see Dillion in with one of the new brigade, with a rematch with Joshua, or you know, the winner of Wilder Fury, or if Wilder and Fury don't fight, you know, another way to get in there. But there's Jarrell Miller, of course, as well, the unbeaten fighter. There's Joseph Parker. There's a lot out there as well for the heavyweights, and you know, we can't wait.
If Joshua Miller was to happen and Wilder and Fury were to rematch, what does Dillion do then?
Good question. Maybe you're right. Maybe he will go for a Klitschko. Maybe he'll just have to bide time. Maybe he fights Alexander Usyk. You know, he's added to the heavyweight division, we believe, in the next few weeks and months. You've got Michael Hunter as well. You know, there's other fighters out there who are making noise, who want to join the glamour division. So, you know, there's a lot of fights that can be made. We need them to be made. So I look forward to catching up with Eddie and finding out some answers.
Of course, Dillion's priorities are April 13th against Joshua in that rematch. He's come out on TalkSport and said the offer that Anthony Joshua and Eddie Hearn made was ridiculous. What do you think about that?
It's all about money, this sport, isn't it, when it comes down to it, and fighters want to be paid what they believe is right. Anthony Joshua will have in his mind what he believes is right. Dillion Whyte will have in his mind what he believes is right. There's a lot of people in between them, as big teams, both of them have. and I'm sure they'll try and thrash it out and get a deal over the line. I think it makes sense. I think it's the right fight to happen, April the 13th. I mean, we all want Joshua Wilder or Joshua Fury, but if Wilder and Fury are going to rematch, that's obviously not with us, but it's a great fight. It was a fantastic fight first time around. And I think in many ways you want to see the winner of that. You want to see somebody come through that. I think Fury will go in with a massive chance this time after what happened last time. Wilder could change his mind and go the Joshua route. I think it's unlikely. I think it's more likely that Joshua and White will happen on April the 13th. And I think it's probably the right fight at the right time for both of them. As I said, I think Dillion's paid his dues. I think he's done everything that's asked of him. Terrific performances, great knockouts, some of the best knockouts of 2018. I think he's learned a lot from the rematch. He's matured. He's injury-free. He's got a great, physical and mental attitude now. And I think it's the right time to be challenging Joshua. But as we know, it all comes down to money, and the money has to be right or the fight won't be made.
Now, you mentioned Eubank DeGale at the start of our interview. That's been announced, obviously, at the O2 as well. Do you firstly think that's a pay-per-view fight? And secondly, are we seeing too many pay-per-views in the current climate?
Well, look, everybody wants to be part of the party, so to speak, don't they? Look, we've been doing boxing on Sky Sports for many, many years, 30 years or so, and we choose our box office events carefully. There's added competition now with BT Sport, with ITV, and everybody wants to play their hand with it. That means that you have to be careful. You have to think really what is a real box office event, because obviously the fans have to pay, and we want to make sure that on Sky we choose the very best and give the best box office nights. I think Eubank and DeGale is a very interesting fight. I think it's a fight that, yes, both of their stars have waned slightly, but look, they're two London rivals, and there's...
Do you put that on pay-per-view?
There'll be a lot of beef. We don't have the fight, so it's an irrelevant question. Some fights, depending on how much money, we're not there to make fights. That's up to the promoters. Eddie Hearn makes the fights, and he comes to us, and if there's enough money on the table, there's enough money on the table. But ultimately, the big fights have to be box office fights, because that's where the money will be generated from, the revenue. But we have to pick very carefully what we decide that goes on box office, because we want them to be special nights, because our customers are paying. We want to make sure that we have a good supply on Sky Sports and all our channels. On Sky Sports News, on skysports.com, there's a huge boxing portfolio. And then when there are box office events, we want them to be special nights. Last year we had Anthony Joshua fighting the likes of Joseph Parker and Povetkin. We had, the result of the finish of the rivalry between Tony Bellew and David Haye. Dillion White was in a couple of box office events. They were all very, very strong events, and that's what we've got to continue to do. There's no rush to make the next one. We have to make sure that when we do, it's the right fight.
Just lastly, see, it's set to be announced, CrawfordKhan. What do you make of that whole situation? The fact that he hasn't taken a Brook fight, taken Crawford for less money, obviously pound-for-pound contender as well. So, yeah, what do you make of that whole situation?
I've gone on record many times saying that I wanted desperately for Amir Khan and Kell Brook to fight. I don't think I'm the only one. I think the majority of the British public would like to see that fight. But it's Amir Khan's career. He took the spin to go and fight Canelo when very few people gave him a chance. Did really well for a few rounds before getting knocked out, and then that put him back, but he got a lot of money for that fight. He'll get well paid again to fight Terence Crawford. It's a massive challenge. Crawford, one of, if not the best pound-for-pound fighter, along with Lomachenko in the world. It's a huge ask, but a huge chance for Khan, and he's always wanted to do it the hard way, and, largely in America. So you've got to say, hats off to him for taking the challenge. It's a big, big fight, but it is not the fight that we wanted in Britain, which was the Kell Brook fight. So disappointing in one way, but in other ways, a huge global fight for him, and we wish him well.
What does Kell Brook do now? Do you think that fight with Khan is dead now as well for the future?
That's what Eddie said, that, if he fights Crawford, that the Kell fight will never happen. My worry more is that after their last two performances, I'm not sure how long either has got left. So I didn't think Amir was particularly impressive against Sammy Vargas. I didn't think Kell was particularly impressive in Sheffield a few weeks ago. So I think that, I'm just worried that fight, like the White-Hatton or the Lewis Bowe fights that, we all wanted to happen, will just sort of escape. But I thought the chance was now. It's not happening. Never say never in boxing, but I think it's more unlikely. So Kell Brook's got to think, what do I do now? I think he's got to decide if he wants to be at 11 stone and who he's going to fight there. And Liam Smith obviously just added to the Matchroom stables. Interesting. There's plenty on worldwide. So Kell Brook's got to get his own agenda going, because it's obvious that Amir Khan and Kell Brook are not going to fight, at least not for the near future.
All right, Adam Smith, thank you very much for talking to IFL TV. Anything you'd like to add?
I can't wait to sit down with Eddie, get the season up and running. Good start February the 2nd. We've got, obviously, next Friday night in New York as well, Demetrius Andrade, and a huge stack card. And then we kick off our 10 o'clock shows, or 8 till 11, or however you look at it, but certainly our Saturday night shows on February the 2nd. Ted Cheeseman, European title, against an undefeated Spaniard. Really looking forward to that. Felix Cash, Lawrence Okoli, big night coming back with, and then plenty more ahead. Big shows in March to look forward to. And as I said, I just want to sit down with Eddie and work out what's happening, maybe on a slightly bigger scale, because I think there's going to be some humongous fights this year.
Well, we look forward to it, and a huge 2019, hopefully. Thank you.